Right. I guess you got a chance to watch the Boise game last night. What did you think of that performance? Kind of coming off one where they were really close against San Diego State, and they kind of dropped.
Yeah, I've probably watched 6 Boise games. Obviously Coach Wright's been there a long time. Great respect for him. Great program. We've had some incredible battles with these guys. So, I think it's going to be a physical game. They're a team that really guards, plays really, really hard. Front line is really big. They're good. So we'll have to have 2 good days.
Kind of misleading the way that they've lost a couple of really, a tough triple overtime and then a tough home game where they kind of just didn't play well in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, they've played great teams. They played the 12th best schedule in America, so you're going to lose some games.
Going into this game, obviously, they have a great defense. They're going to try and turn you over a lot. Against Air Force, you did really well assist to turnover ratios. How can you kind of parlay that into Saturday? Yeah,
I mean, just a totally different animal, Mark, to be honest with you. 2 totally different teams. Boise's physical. They've got great on-ball defenders. I think Nito, the freshman guard, is tremendous. I think Dylan Andrews does a great job of pressuring the ball. Meadows, Carmichael, they're physical. Their front line fielder, one of my favorite guys in the whole league is Buchanan. I think he's an absolute warrior, beast, whatever word you want to call him, describe him. I just think he's a winner. So this is a totally different beast. This is one of the most physical teams we'll see all year.
So they're probably one of the better rebounding teams. We're probably the best rebounding team in the conference numbers-wise, at least really close to it. Just how do you try and maybe not necessarily control the glass completely because you may not be able to dominate, but not get dominated on the glass.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mindset, right? You got to understand what you're walking into. You're walking into a team that's lost a couple tough games. You're walking into a older team that has a lot to prove, and they got size. They're big, they're strong. They really move people. They enjoy hitting people. They enjoy contact. So we are expecting a very, very physical game, and we have to be able to do that. Like you said, we have to match that, every possession.
I know last year they struggled three-point shooting, but then against you guys, they had probably 2 of their better three-point shooting games. There's a similar struggle with their outside shooting this year. They're a little inconsistent. How do you try and make sure that what happened last year doesn't happen again, where you let them have one of their better games?
Yeah, I think, Jason, it starts and ends with guarding the ball, staying out of rotations. They're going to throw the ball inside, right? So you have to have 2-3 different coverages against that. The biggest thing against them where they get their rebounds is off cross matches and mismatches, right? When you're in scramble situations and not keeping the ball in front, that gives them an advantage, right? A big on a guard, rebounding the ball. So try to stay out of rotations the best you can. Ball screen coverage has got to be good. And we got to understand Meadows and Carmichael can really shoot it.
Feel good about looking back at Air Force?
Yeah, I mean, I thought our pressure was good. We weren't good in spurts, but I thought our ball security, as Mark said, was good. But they don't pressure the ball much, so it is a little bit different. But I liked our mindset the last 20 minutes.
Against Air Force, you're able to play a lot of the guards, get kind of everybody some minutes. Like you said, they're going to throw the ball inside a lot. Just how does that kind of rest and distribution the other night help you against them? Yeah, I mean,
KT didn't play a ton. Had some asthma issues. Drake, foul issues. I thought it was just good to get those guys in, right? Luke Carney, Tucker Anderson, Jordy. Those guys are always dependable. They're good players. I said after the game, they're on a borderline top 25 team, so they sacrifice every day. I think, we celebrate, others in our program. I think that's what separates us from most in the country is we really enjoy others' success. And that's something we talk about every day. It's been driven into this group from day one. That to me is what your culture is. It's we over me, having that mentality every day. And those kids really sacrifice a lot. And they bring it every single day, whether they're on the scout team or they're getting reps for the game. So to those guys to get some action, I thought was great, and they'll continue to be, a big part of our program.
How's Zach?
Yeah, he'll play. He, nothing broke, just some soreness, but yeah, he'll practice today, tomorrow. He'll be ready to go.
You got a mask for him, or is it just...
He didn't have to have a mask. I was teasing him. I thought he was going to have one, but with no broken bones, he's good to go.
So I know you always want to get the most out of your players, you know, I mean, but like with the bigs, especially with how Boise has some really good bigs, how much do you really need to get the most out of Gary and Carson?
Yeah, I mean, Gary's got to stay on the floor, stay out of foul trouble. You know, KT has shown great signs. You know, I thought 2 games ago he had one of his best games as an Aggie. They've got to create advantages. They've got to be connectors. They're going to play drop coverage. They're going to ice on the side. They drop in the slot. So, you know, they got to be good in their point of attack when they go set screens and rolls and finishes. And they're going to make good decisions this game. But I think they'll be a big part of our game plan.
You've had some success against drop coverage, like with San Jose. You really tore their pick and roll coverage apart. Like, is there some Boise are they just kind of better at it, or they've not been burned by that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Felder is so big. When you get below the free throw line, thing I learned many years ago is, you know, elite players make good decisions below the free throw line. You have to be able to make decisions around the rim, whether it's, you know, win the race, get it on the rim, late lobs, pocket passes, kickouts. You know, you just got to be able to read defenses, and we work on that daily. So it's part of our DNA, our decision-making process throughout the week. We give them different coverages. You know, Boise could switch it up, who knows? But we practice almost every coverage every day in our skill development, so we got to continue to do that.
Is there any kind of extra urgency knowing that in a lot of ways Boise's kind of playing for their season?
Yeah, you know, Mark, I think more importantly, it's about us, right? Like, I don't really worry about what other people's records are. Are they coming off a win? Or are they coming off a loss? When you got a guy like Leon Rice that leads the league in wins, the history of this league, you know, he does a phenomenal job. You know, the leadership starts at the top. He's got older players, Buchanan, Carmichael, Meadows. These kids have been in this league, right? And they always find a way to win games. They're very, very good. They're very disciplined. They're tough. So we have great respect, whether they've won 4 in a row, lost 4 in a row. It's Utah State and Boise, right? It's kind of a backyard brawl, 4 hours away. There's been some, you know, epic games. Let's call it like it is. I mean, both games last year, they kicked their tails up there, right? And here it took a sideline out of bounds to beat them. So they're really good, and I think they'll figure it out. Yeah, they're coming off some losses, but they've played great teams. You know, Grand Canyon, New Mexico, San Diego State. You know, we haven't played those teams yet, so we got a tough slate ahead. We have to be excited about that, and the way you get excited is prepare and be obsessed with details and feel good about going into the game.
How much have you tried to talk to your players, like prepare them? Because like you guys, frankly, have played 3 of the teams at the bottom of the conference.
Yeah, I tell them that. Yeah, I mean, we look at standings. We talk about standings. Ken Paul and Bartorvik, Net. We talk about it. You know, usually every Monday. Here's where we're at. Here's where we're at in offense. Here's where we're at in defense. Here's the conference standings. You have to be obsessed with the league. I think, you know, the Mountain West early got a bad rap. I think the Mountain West is tremendous. I think, you know, you look at Grand Canyon, look at New Mexico. There's teams, you know, Colorado State, people are down on them. They're playing without two of the best bigs in our league. These teams are going to get better. You see it every week. So the only thing our players should be concerned is getting better and being prepared and understanding the details. And I think guys that love basketball, they watch all these games. They understand what's going on in this league and what's going on around the country. You do have to have an awareness. But when you get wrapped up in too much, it becomes a distraction, right? And I think it's just really worrying about us.
MJ was kind of talking a little bit. Earlier in the season, you had kind of, you know, mentioned the lack of leadership from the older guys, especially. You kind of mentioned his relationship with Elijah. Just what have you seen from the older guys that maybe kind of come along since the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand, after 2-3 weeks, we had 10 new players. So we got 5 freshmen that have never done a college scout. We've got 5 freshmen that have never went through a full season of college basketball. That's really, really hard. Part of the reason coaches aren't taking freshmen is hard to win with a bunch of freshmen. You know, so I think we have a great mix of returning players, new players that are older, and then these freshmen that are learning every day and getting better. So I think the guys have really taken ownership by having the former players around. The different events that we do a message before every game from either a parent or a former player. So we try to create an atmosphere of there's a standard here and there's an expectation, not only amongst ourselves, but the former players, the coaches, and our fan base. So I think our guys have embraced what wearing a Utah State Aggie uniform means. That takes a little bit of time. A month and a half ago, it wasn't where it needed to be. Today, it's much better. It still can get better. But I think, MJ taking guys under his wing, whether it's Elijah or some of these other freshmen, Mason doing the same. KT does a tremendous job of being intentional about his time off the court, spending time with guys. I think Jordy Barnes has a great feel. I've said it from day one. I think he'd be a tremendous college coach. I'm trying to get him to join my staff here one day. Drake has done a really good job. He's more lead by example type, right? There's a lot of different ways to lead, but guys are doing it in a lot of different ways. And I think it's kind of neat seeing our team come together. And I think that gets lost in college basketball, like what a team really is, right? When you start paying guys and plugging guys in and out, that can get lost. And here, that has not got lost. And I think we're starting to get it.
I want to ask about the freshmen, particularly the ones who are redshirting. It's going to be difficult for them. They're not going to be on the court this season. How do you try and keep them engaged in their own future with Utah State, especially since, frankly, there's a lot of freshmen that redshirt and that transfer? Yeah,
well, I think they all have great perspective. They've played the long game by opting into a red shirt. They have great self-awareness. That's hard to find in today's college player. They are getting better daily. I think Braden Bowe is a tremendous shooter. He's got really strong. He's confident getting it to the rim. Kingston Tosi has days where he looks like one of the best players on the team. He's got a great motor. He's athletic around the rim. He just can really rebound the ball and attack closeouts. Aweezy has been a little bit up and down. Early he was tremendous. I'd say over the last 2-3 weeks, he's hit a little bit of a wall, but he's getting nailed at every practice, right? So in our defense, our perimeters pressure the bigs a lot. So he gets frustrated a little bit by the pressure, but I think in the long term, these kids are going to be tremendous players. And I think it gives us great balance. So now next year when we go in the portal, you've got, once again, you're getting older with your current group. And instead of, having to get so many players, you now have guys ready to go. And I think that's the, key to our recruiting, to be honest with you, is development.
With recruiting, how do you try and balance recruiting the fact that a lot of times eligibility rules kind of keep changing kind of on a dime?
Yeah, MJ texted me last night and said, looks like we'll be back together for another year. I guess some 25-year-old guy got eligible. Once again, I'm kind of sometimes in the dark on a lot of these things with not having Twitter. I do miss it in certain aspects, but not really. So when he texted me, I go, what are you talking about? Did they make a ruling on this 5th year? And he said about this player. No, I think you have to have open conversations. You got to try to retain your guys. I would like to have everything in place over the next month. Anybody that has returning eligibility, try to get them locked into a contract. And then, on the 5th year thing, I think it's a wait and see. We call every Power 4, head coach that's on those committees. I've got mid-major buddies that are on those committees. They don't really know. So that is definitely a wait and see thing. You're monitoring college basketball every week. We do about a 1-hour meeting every Monday. We have an updated list. Guys that are not, obviously the portal's not open, but potential portal guys is what I call them. Guys that could potentially help our roster. It might be somebody we played, somebody we've seen on TV, somebody we got a call on. If you're not up to date on the portal every day and following it, you're going to be left in the dust, because once that thing opens, you have to have a clear plan on, okay, here are the guys I have coming back, and here's who I would like to try to replace them with the guys you're losing. And I think we have a really, really strategic, analytically eye-tested plan that backs it up with the character, right? So we've got to make sure we're getting the right character guys, guys that fit who we want to be around for 365 days, guys that our fans will appreciate. And there is a science to this. Sometimes you're going to miss on guys. There's no doubt about it. You're not going to bat 1,000. But you can't miss on the guys that you have in your program or you're going to lose games, right? So I think our guys do a really good job, our staff. We know how we want to play, and we don't really want to change that, right? And I think when you have an identity, certainly you're going to have to adapt to certain things, but the great coaches have exactly kind of the player they want to coach.